I was going through my mother's drawers. To this day, I do not know what I was looking for: chapstick, a nail file. I was a kid, around 10 or 11, and I found a notebook. My mother was not a writer, at least that is what she claimed to me when I asked her if she could do some emails to promote my music. Whenever I needed my mother, she acted like she could not help, and it was a trait I did not see as a form of abandonment because A, it was my normal, and B, what I found in that notebook. I opened the notebook and was shocked to see a journal entry. The notebook was red with white printed flowers on it, and inside, in blue pen, would be 3 pages of a woman struggling to not kill herself. It was articulate and sad, which were 2 things my mother swore she was not. In her head, she was unclear, and her Spanish accent, when she spoke English at her job, was a point of bullying. This made her feel like all her thoughts were easily trashable. Yet, as someone she raised to be like her, by giving her the same type of painful experiences, I realized it was not that she did not know what to say or was not saying what she meant. It was that she was surrounded by people who did not care. I read the letter deeply saddened and surprised by its final paragraph. The only reason I stay in this world is because of my daughter. She's the only reason I survive. I was stunned. The woman who scolded me every day, yelled at me over petty things like where mayo should go in a fridge, and at best acted like I was a burdensome blessing that sometimes she had to physically hit. This woman was saying in her writing, I was her survival. I felt loved and deeply moved that a person who contemplated suicide and had written near 3 pages of how devastating her life had been now stayed because of me. I always went back to that letter in my head as proof the mother that villainized me to herself could not fully hate her reason for survival, right? It was only in time I saw the danger of that letter, for the both of us. The biggest hiccup for me and my mother was that I was so reflected in a lot of my relationship choices, and now my anti-trauma bonding clause was I never could make her feel alive. I never could heal her wounds more than take them on for her. I never could be enough for her. It was only really perfect for her when her friends or strangers were impressed by me. That realization broke me because my father was honest in how less he thought I was, but my mother never realized I could not be the most for her. All right, let's heal. Let's discuss. So that letter always sticks out to me, and I think going no contact with both my parents, it was harder for me to go no contact with my mother than it was for my father, because my mother raised me to be her mother. She raised me to take care of her, to make sure that she was well. And it's something that I realize a lot of the women did in my family to their daughters, or at least one of their daughters. And it was like, no, 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 no. You make me first while I make your brothers and I make your father first. You make me first. So I can at least be important to somebody, right? And as my mother's only child, I was inevitably the one that she molded to make her first. And part of how you do that is you give your child all your adult issues and act like you're not. And then when they become an adult, you treat them like a child and you infantilize them and you act like suddenly, whenever I needed help as a child, I was on my own. But when I became an adult, it was this endless, you don't know how to do that. You don't know how to do it. You're not doing right. You're not. And it was this total switch. And I always go back to that letter because if the behavior and the treatment switch did the motive too. Like when I was a kid, my mother, that letter was so important to me because my mother would hit me, my mother would scream at me, my mother would scold me. And it's part of the reason I liked going out and meeting her friends and going in public, because it was one of the only ways my mother would be kind to me and would kind of say, yeah, my daughter's amazing. Yeah, I love her. Like I needed public witnesses in order to have something to witness. And this was, I don't know what I was looking for, but I found it and I read it. And it wasn't like being nosy. All my life, I have given letters to people I really loved. And I would always send love letters to my mother saying she was a great mom. And it's funny because I would send letters to my dad when the abuse got so bad. And I was always raised to believe, particularly with the men in my family, that they were dumb And that's why they were cruel. They didn't see their cruelty. So you need to become a better communicator. And for me, writing was a better communication for me. And I didn't even realize it was my superpower. So whenever my father's abuse got bad, I would write to him saying, could you stop? I love you. I accept that you have demons, but can you show me your angels? I literally wrote that. I was a damn poet. Still am. And with my mother, every time I saw her down or Christmas, every holiday or a moment I felt she was down, I would write her a letter like, you're doing great, keep going. And I didn't get that back. At best I would get a thank you. And I love you too. But I didn't get big expressions of love. So when I saw that letter, and here was this person that when they had big expressions, it was usually in anger or rage or I was dumb. That letter made me feel loved. That letter made me feel like maybe like my father doesn't see he's evil, although he did. He just didn't want to stop being it. But maybe my mother sees that I'm important and that I love her and that I've made it clear enough for her to make me her survival. That letter impressed me and moved me. And now in perspective, I'm like, I was screwed from the start. I was screwed from the start. Because first of all, it's 3 pages of my mother. It really is like a suicide note without the suicide. It's just everything, every sadness she felt. And my mother was not a person to say she was sad. She could have tears in her eyes and say, I never cry. So it was on one hand whoa, I'm entering my mother's inner world, her secret emotional world. So there was this whoa, she feels and she feels a lot. But it's 3 paragraphs of negative, 3 pages of negative. And then the final paragraph, I come in. And it's I survive for her. I stay in this world, a literal quote, I stay in this world because of her. And I was on cloud 9. And I think of that notebook and that letter often and that final paragraph because of how bad through the years our relationship got. Narcissists don't age well, and they particularly don't age well as parents because children, part of what makes them so pure and perfect is that they want to see the good. They want to play. Their resilience is so powerful. You push them, they'll get back up and they will act like it's okay, but they'll never forget that push. And then if you keep on pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, as they become adults, they're going to start saying, no, that was a push. And eventually, maybe they'll either A, push back, or they'll be like me and just not hang with pushers. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I think that's where this episode came out. When did my mother stop loving me? When did I become... Because my entire upbringing was on survival mode. So when did I stop making her feel survival? Because that was the best my mother could feel, survival. She never felt like she was alive or living. It was all survival mode. And the distractions we use to make us feel like survival is living, like our job, retail therapy, our child. And it's something that when did the scale tip? Particularly because so much of my life was dedicated to relationships outside of me. And I'm well, no wonder I have no dreams my dreams haven't come true yet. I was living for everybody. And all these relationships ended up turning on me. And I'm when did the twist come? When did the lemon get sour? And I know why. And it's because my mother, wounds age. If you don't close them or heal them, they get bigger and they start to get pus and they start to gush. And that goes the same for spiritual wounds. And I think when you don't heal and you get older, you get bitter because there's something about youth in looks, youth in body, youth in behavior that protects you from your wounds, even if it doesn't heal them, right? It could heal them if you're conscious they need healing, but we use our friends and we use going out to distract from wounds because we're denying them. If you see that you have wounds and you turn going out with friends into healing, those wounds will heal. Like I tell myself, okay, I have people who like me. I didn't have a family who liked me, but I have friends who like me. I have people who think about me. I have people who say I'm exceptional when I enter the room. I didn't have a family that did that, but I'm allowing these people, whether friends or strangers, I'm absorbing their love because I had a family that, yeah, they didn't love me, but they also made me feel like love didn't exist for me. Because part of abuse is I have to make sure my victim doesn't love themselves, because if they actually love themselves, they would never love me. And both my parents didn't age well. I think my father through the years became more malicious and more okay with causing harm, whereas my mother just became really bitter and angry and like just no growth. And it's something that I noticed in my grandmother, like these women didn't dream. They didn't dream for themselves. And I thought they dreamt for me because it was, like us against the world. But they didn't want me to have my dreams. Like they would either criticize me or they say, you can't do that. That's a bad idea. And I didn't realize all that over criticism, all that control was their way of saying, I don't want you to have your dreams. Partially because I never had mine, partially because I'm scared of being abandoned, partially. And I look back at that letter and I see in perspective, I should have never been the reason my mother survived. I should have never, her world should not have been centered on me because that's why she wanted to control me. And that's why I in many ways failed her, or I understand why she thinks I failed her. I couldn't heal wounds that I never had. She could only just give them to me. Like even when I speak English, I'm like, do I have an accent? When I speak Spanish, do I have an accent? She was obsessed with accents. And my mother was the type of person, if you said one thing was wrong with her, even if you were a stranger and you just said, wow, you have a yellow tooth. Next thing you know, the tooth was being removed. She was whitening the shit out of that tooth. Like she just needed one criticism and suddenly she was in Colombia doing cosmetic surgery. Like she was very sensitive. And I picked up that sensitivity through the years, ironically, because I am going back to the youthful me that really didn't care. And that was the part of me she most admired, but she also had to end to keep control of me, that part of me that didn't mind if people didn't like me as long as I liked me. And that letter, it's crazy how the years make you see like a red flag. I look back at that letter now and I'm like, yeah, that's actually really sad and really dark. And that wasn't a sign that she loved me. That was a sign that she needed way more help and way more self-centeredness, because she was selfish with me, but not with others. And she just didn't know if you love yourself, you will receive love from others. If you put you first and give from your overflows, people will be as grateful, and you'll actually find good people that are grateful. My mother was just selfish with me and resented the day I got empty. Because eventually you both are just empty people yelling to be full again at each other. Check out Daddy Recovery on all platforms. Check out Hardin Music on all platforms. And I love you. Stay safe out there, people.